Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for chilling with us through this very short break. It's Yanni and RareAdam still on the microphones. We're bringing you a brand new series, the final series of the regular season for the Black Twitch League. The undefeated Team DPS look to continue their run of domination against the 6th-seeded Team Ishtar, or at least the 6th seed for now.
Yes, and they will. The place that we are expecting things to go is Ishtar. If they lose this, finish 6th. If they win, however, they can catapult themselves up to 4th seed, which would put them above Trebuchet, giving them a little bit of a shorter weekend as well. So curious to see how these games play out, but my goodness, that is the earliest recon pick we've seen. Knowing who is playing for DPS.
Listen, the last time I casted, it was over a month ago, Alice Kander picked Rakan mid. I am back, and Alice Kander picks Rakan mid, baby. And, I mean, they targeted his Zoe, and it was just like, alright, well, I'll just go ahead and play Rakan. Meanwhile, Team Ishtar follows it up with Caitlyn Morgana, so bindings and traps for days, potentially in the bot lane, or perhaps Team Ishtar maybe got some inspiration from Predictive Gaming's jungler last time out.
Could be, but realistically, if you're picking Caitlyn and the Morgana, you're just going to pair them up together. It's such a potent combo in lane. So wouldn't be too surprised to see that come through. The Jarvan comes through for Talus. Not going to be able to get their hands on Ivern quite yet. And interesting to see that the Rengar was actually banned away. And this might actually just be Xayah Rakan, actually. It might not be Aliskander playing the Rakan mid. We'd love to see it, but we'll see. We'll see.
Corki, the final pick of the first half of the for Team Ishtar. And Corki has fallen out of favor, but is still certainly a strong mid lane option.
It's very safe, especially into someone like Aliskander, who is one of the higher ranked players in the league, alongside your bad connection. You want to just try and make sure that you have a safe lane, and whether that is the Rakan mid lane into the Corki, maybe they're just hedging their bets and saying, if that's the case, we're fine playing Corki into that. If not, they're happy to blind pick that as well and make sure that it has a certain level of safety to it as well, because Corki, regardless of nerfed or buffed or whatever, still does a boatload of damage once it gets to the later stages of the game.
And that, I was gonna say that ultimate, but it feels like it. The package, certainly a huge disrupting tool in team fights. Second half of bans, it's not Morgana. It's, why can't I think? I can't think today. It's Karma. There we go. It's Karma and Orin for Team Ishtar, and on the other side, they get rid of Viego and Lee Sin, and they're gonna lock a Trundle here against the team that doesn't really have any tanks. I don't consider Jarvan to be a tank. I really don't.
Yeah, and of course, unless it's the chem tank first strike build that we've seen come through, where they end up going a little bit tankier. That's the only real way that Jarvan ends up being a tank, but even then, not really speccing into too many of those tank stats. But Viperto, of note, playing jungle here. We have seen Viperto playing top lane for most of the season, but it will be Drubin fitting up there as well. Actually, Tygoon playing AD carry as well. A couple of just switch arounds here for Team Ishtar this week, so curious to see where everything plays out, but no, we will not see Aliskander playing Rakan mid. That is Victor Jace picked up. Talk about damage, though, in your soul lanes. It's Jace ADC Xayah top lane.
Oh, that's pretty spicy. But realistically speaking, I mean, this team DPS, I mean, what does DPS stand for, baby? Damage per second. Xayah, Victor, Jace. What do? Damage per second. On the other side, though, Team Ishtar, they've crafted themselves a pretty nice composition here. I don't necessarily like the Trundle too much, it's a little run at them, but round things out with a Malphite, you can really never go wrong.
It's such a strong pick still in a vacuum. You want to have as much... you still have that front line available for your Caitlyn and your Corki to just poke out from afar, so realistically, I don't mind this pickup too much. I think that the Malphite will be able to weather the storm that is the Jace up in the top lane, and this Victor in the mid lane as well into Corki. It's just a neutral matchup as well, so unless there's some crazy outplays coming through from Aliskander or Face to the Wind, it's just going to be a pretty neutral lane matchup as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is a neutral lane matchup. You know, they just kind of farm up and do their thing, but you know what? In this league, we like blood, and blood there probably will be. The bot lane is pretty interesting, and I do have some fears for the Xayah outside of her ultimate. As Morgana bindings are going to hurt. If Corki happens to jump on her, it's going to be a problem. And then, of course, the big Rockman.
Of course, the Rockman. We've seen some okay Malphite today, or at least in this weekend. Sorry, it is hit or miss sometimes. I think that Malphite's job, especially here, is just to sit back, sort of wait until you get to that later stage, and you can find some pretty crazy engages with Malphite Corki package. It's one of the more ridiculous combos, but of course, got to keep in mind the lovers duo in the bottom lane. This is something that we haven't seen in a long time. Very often, Xayah is picked with other champions other than Rakan, and Rakan is picked with other champions not named Xayah. Linking them up is still a rather strong combo. Technically, there's stronger combos that you can match with them, but I'm curious to see what Brian does on this Rakan, because they will be under the scope of the mid lane Rakan that we're so used to seeing.
Yeah, every play you're going to make, anything that goes bad, is like, I'd rather have the mid lane Rakan. But realistically, obviously, Rakan Xayah, a match made in heaven. The champions were literally built that way. So it is always scary going up against them. I believe what Rakan gets greater range when moving towards Xayah on the W, I believe.
The battle dance, the E, and
Oh, it's the E.
they also share the attack speed from the Xayah W.
Right. So, it doesn't do all that much. It's nothing uber game breaking or anything, but it does allow Rakan to sometimes fly in off screen a little bit farther away. You pick up a Jace in the top lane, and he's gonna have a pretty free lane against this Malphite.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting to see Quaggart pulling out the Jace, because we've known Quaggart as sort of the tank player, but of course, if you feel the urge to pick something that's a little bit more poke oriented, and you want to sort of start your fights off with an accelerated shock blast here, you've got the team comp to do so. I mean, Xayah Rakan can provide so much utility and so much damage in their own rights, and setting up for Jace to sort of just poke from afar is really your game plan here. You want to just sort of wait to win the war of attrition a little bit in terms of this poke, and then you go in with Talus's Jarvan here. But on the flip side, there's not a lack of poke on the other side. Death by video game on the Morgana, one binding lands into traps from Tygoon, into a rocket from Face to the Wind. That can do some pretty big damage to a lot of these squishier members, because, as you said, no true tank on the side of DPS.
Yeah, and realistically, it does make Trundle ultimates fairly easy for Voperto. And speaking of Voperto, I know you had mentioned there was some role swapping going around. So now, I have a question for you. Do you think this is because somebody couldn't make it? Do you think this is because they're just having fun going into the last week here, even though this game is important for seeding? Or do you think this could be a new potential lineup? Some of the secret sauce, maybe?
I think it's just someone couldn't make it. That's my guess. It
All
happens. It's Sunday night,
Of course.
Maybe it's someone's birthday. That happens.
Oh yeah, maybe it is somebody's birthday. Couldn't be me, because it isn't.
Well, not for another 3 hours,
Not for another 3 hours. But who's counting, right?
You are, and so am I. We're all counting.
I mean,
Let's be real.
I'm not really counting that much. My birthday is going to be a same normal Monday that I've had for the last X amount of weeks, where X is the number of times I've casted on Mondays.
Oh yeah.
I think like 7 times now, right? I think it was 7. I can't remember. But
I don't know. I'm not you. You know how many Mondays you cast.
Wait, what? You're not.
What? You're not my LeBlanc clone?
There is one thing I did remember, and that is to throw us to the spectator delay, as we are about 90 seconds, give or take, some loading screen time from getting onto the Rift for Game 1 between Team DPS and Team Ishtar. Do not adjust your dial. Maybe go get some water, take a short bathroom break. Yanni and RareAdam will be back with all of the action from Game 1 of this set as we take you into the last week of the Black Twitch League. Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived onto the Rift. It is Yanni and RareAdam. It is Team DPS versus Team Ishtar. Team DPS has only dropped one game the entire season and is looking to go undefeated on matches. As we see, Team Ishtar trying to make something happen down here, but they do get spotted out by Brian. I want to say Byron so badly.
Yes, it's because of the O.
Yes, it is.
The O throws it off, and Brian is playing with our hearts a little bit there. But yes,
you know how many times I'm trying to joke about Bing Bong, Beans, Rice, Jesus Christ, and Byron?
What?
Do you not know about the side talk New York City? Bing Bong, no?
I've heard of Bing Bong, but that's about it. Not the beans and rice and.
I have to pull this video up.
You've got the DL, yeah. But...
I'm gonna hold on 1 second. Let me I'm gonna pull it up now so I have it for later. While nothing's going on here in the early game. Yeah. Beans, rice, Jesus Christ.
The last game that DPS dropped was against Trebuchet in week 2, and that's a long time. That's almost a month ago. They have gone at least a full month without dropping a single BTL game. So very curious to see how this ends up playing out, because realistically, there is a world where DPS is going to have next weekend off. That's for sure. They're going to be able to sort of rest, recharge, and recycle, if that's how that works, and get ready for semifinals. Because they've set themselves up already for they're already locked into first seed. They're going to get their pick of the litter, either the Gauntlet winner or a Spectre when it comes to who they want to play.
Yeah, and you know what? Whenever you get the choice, it's always so good.
Yeah.
Just show how well they performed all season. As Brian flashes forward, gets hit by a binding, unable to knock Tygoon up. They spotted out Talus, so that allows Vuperto to know what's going on here.
Yeah, a little bit of an unfortunate flash there from Brian to just flash into a binding there. Sort of telegraphed the fact that Talus was coming. Didn't cause the flash to be used by either Death by Video Game or Tygoon there, but the heal is expended. It's at least a summoner for summoner, but Brian's flash there is super impactful when it comes to making plays happen. Rakan, one of those champions that can just fly in from 2 screens away, and having that flash can end up being a pretty big factor at level 6 where you can just flash charm someone. So we'll have to keep our eyes on how the Rakan can make those plays happen, because the onus is really going to be on Rakan to make plays for this entire team alongside the Jarvan.
And never mind the fact, if Rakan gets himself in a little bit of trouble, he's got no way out at that point.
Apart from the extended battle dance, which is going to be really helpful.
Well, you're getting hit by a bind, and then you're probably getting hit by a trap. So you might just be dead.
Yes. It's really tough to escape this crowd control combo, so Brian just going to have to dodge, and that's what has been happening thus far. The poke advantage is still going to go the way of the Kate Morg, but we'll keep our eyes on how this lane plays out.
Sometimes you just gotta dive, duck, dip, dive, and dodge, and Aliskander trying to take down Vuperto here. He has burned the flash. He has now been stunned. He is dead. It is first blood going over to Aliskander. What a surprise, man. This guy is just absolutely bonkers in the mid lane.
Yeah, and I think that as this game will move forward, we're going to have to see Vuperto try and get a little bit more flexibility around this map. They need to try and find plays basically to respond to what DPS are going to do, because this is a team that is super proactive. They're able to make plays out of nothing a lot of the time, and I think that a lot of that is just going to come down to Vuperto trading as opposed to looking for the exact same play and doing it better, if that makes sense.
Interested that Aliskander took a back here with a full blue buff. He isn't going to get boots either, so it's going to take him a long time to walk back to that lane. I would have abused the heck out of having that blue, because that was free 99, free real estate, whatever you want to call it. See Talus moving up a little bit. He has been spotted on the ward. Another ward put down by Face to the Wind. So the warding on the side of Team Ishtar has been pretty strong so far. They have seen Talus for the last, 20 seconds.
Yes, they've known where Talus is, but it's the Jarvan. I mean, Jarvan's not going to be looking to power farm or something. It's not really going to be a huge advantage, because you know, Jarvan has the agency to just move around the map at will, and realistically, you know, you've already got the flash off of Imperto. You're gonna have more gank agency on your own if you're Talus at this point. So, you know, it's more so just about Viperto needs to maybe make a play on the bottom side, look for a link up with the Kate Morgana. The pillar can be used to sort of shift someone a little bit over to set up for that root combo. So we'll see if Imperto can do that. But thus far, DPS are just winning out on these lanes by just sheer poke. And I mean, when you've got first strike on both Talus and Quagger, you're gonna end up stacking up a decent amount of gold too. Oh boy.
There's the hoppity hop. Talus is going to flag and drag over the wall, but has nothing else now. Operdo also here. A flash by Quagger, flashing that unstoppable force by the Malphite. Operdo is down here to make sure everything is a-okay. Ignite expended by Brian, and nothing gained on either side. Tygoon actually had to burn flash.
Yeah, Tygoon did burn flash on the bottom side. It is... Oh my goodness, never mind Talus.
All the flag and drag is just a little bit too late. Let's see if they can get there. The heal is expended. And just flying in is Brian. It is going to be a kill for your bad connection. So the carries of Team DPS, the carry is going to carry. They both have kills.
Yes, and honestly, the Brian just... That's the most fun part about Rakan. When everyone just lines up perfectly, you're able to just glide your way so smoothly into the backline there. And Tygoon, you know, the net can only take you so far. Rakan will catch you. And it's going to be an incredibly difficult lane. Now, no flash available. And we'll see what the next steps are.
And really, Death by Video Game has to be a lot quicker on the draw for the Black Shield, because you could have potentially saved Tygoon there, and just a little bit too late on it. As now Brian is trying to get in the thick of things. Your bad connection is very low. This could be disastrous. Talus goes back in. Talus dies. Your bad connection gets picked off by Tygoon as the dragon didn't have enough in it to kill him. Brian has to dash away. He's solo. He's got to flash away, and Alice Kander is going to be able to pick up a kill. His face to the wind. Really wanted that one. And they're face to the base. Tygoon in trouble. The Black Shield is already gone, trying to move the Chaos Field on Tygoon, and they will barely survive. So Team Ishtar striking back heavy, taking the Drake, and taking a lot of kills.
Yeah, Team Ishtar, this is what they've been able to do against some of these top teams. Really just strike back with a fury. Druben, though, oh my goodness.
He is going for
His
it.
ultimate's up.
The flash cheese wheel, that ultimate, it's going to be in 2 seconds, and he is going to go through and dunk that man like an Oreo. A solo kill for Druben.
Yeah, well played, and sort of pulling the Quaggart on Quaggart in a sense there. Just Malphite goes in. No flash, knows that from the last ultimate that they used, and is just able to follow up with a whole bunch of damage, and Quaggart just no answer there. And DPS, they look like they're on the back foot just a little bit here. Ishtar coming out firing in this game, and this is exactly what we want to see when this is a matchup that sort of... It only really has implications for Ishtar. They are going to play their hardest in this game to push themselves later into the gauntlet, whereas DPS, realistically, I can understand if they're just sort of playing this one out for the sake of trying to finish a perfect season, but, you know, you want to come out here and make sure that your game still means a lot.
Well, I think when you're competing in a tournament like this, you've got a lot of pride, you know?
Yes.
You compete in leagues like this. The pride is there, and you really want to make sure you complete the perfect season. As we see, Alice Kander might be finding a way out. He will get the shield, and he will survive. So, you know, on the one side, DPS playing for pride, a perfect season is an impressive accomplishment. So I do think they are playing fairly hard for it. You see Alice Kander's playing Victor. It's not like he's playing, you know, Rakan mid or anything like that. And on the other side for Team Ishtar, this is a great litmus test. You know, you can see that DPS is playing hard, is trying hard. So this is a good chance to see how well you stack up against them.
Yeah, I think that we'll see what the next steps are for a lot of for this game at least, and I want to see what DPS do to keep their sort of early game about them in a way. I think that it's going to be important for them to continue to push forward advantages, and we'll see. We'll see.
Well, they're not getting many advantages in this bot lane, as this will be a second turret plate claimed by Death by Video Game and Tygoon, as they've had a pretty solid lane so far. CS is slightly in favor of your bad connection. They're going to have a wave coming in, so any lead that Caitlyn gets right now will be immediately erased.
Yeah, gonna be taken off the table, but yeah, the gold leads it's still really close, and this is a good effort coming through from the side of Team Ishtar to really just push forward the agenda in a sense and put some pressure onto DPS, who for a lot of this season have just been able to run away with early game leads and end up with the win. And it's good to see Ishtar is actually testing them on this game and making sure that they work for their win.
Interesting to note, Quegert was given the Rift Herald, so he'll be trying to get himself some gold. Another nice instant reaction flash, but I mean, he does not deal a whole lot of damage, and he certainly takes a lot of damage. Voperdo is in perfect placement to try to make something happen here, but it looks like Quegert had an idea or something, as he will back off accordingly.
And Voperdo now on this top side of the map. Quegert needs to be really careful. Can get dove here.
Yep. And you see Drubin trying to push this in. It's going to take him a little while. He's going to take some damage on the back end, but more Qs coming through, and Voperdo sees, smells blood in the water. Brian is here. The charm, the knockup under tower. Quegert trying to turn it. Alice Kander gets up there. The collapse from DPS is perfectly timed. Talus ready to cut off Voperdo as Face of the Wind tries to find a way in, but realizes there is no hope for Voperdo. Alice Kander picks up kill number 4, and Team DPS heads to the island and helps out their top laner.
Yeah, that was really well played from DPS to recognize that Jace could get dove. And honestly, I'm surprised that Drubin and Voperdo didn't pull the trigger earlier. You know, you probably could have found that dive 20, 30 seconds before that. Been able to really punish Quegert on that top side, but now able to stay in lane, push that lane in, drop the Herald for plates, and despite bot lane tower going down, you still get some gold onto Quegert here, who's really reliant on being, you know, half an item to an item ahead against Drubin.
First turret heading to the bot lane, as we spoke about. Another plate going up for Quegert, so he gets 4 plates there. Bot lane gets full turret worth of gold, and overall the gold lead is about 800 in favor of the side of Team DPS, fluctuating of course, so we're essentially pretty dead even here. I just think that the scaling for the side of DPS is so much better, and they come out the cut, and they eat Byron's lunch, baby. They shook him down for his cheddar. Your bad connection trying to stop the bullies, and he gets bullied himself. Face to the Wind, engaging onto Alice Kander, doing a lot of damage. Talus is here, taking a lot of damage in return. And Team Ishtar, a well-laid trap results in 2 kills plus the Infernal Drake.
Yeah, and realistically, just wow, really well played from Team Ishtar in the last, you know, minute to just claw back that sort of even game state for themselves after a really botched dive top lane. They're able to get some more gold into their favor. They get bot lane turret first for themselves, and really just got to keep our eye on Quegert to see if they can answer with that last plate to continue that sort of lane lead that we want to see out of the Jace. Has already completed the Eclipse. Oh my goodness, here's the play though. Mid.
Uh-oh, Death by Video Game could be in trouble. The Soul Shackles are there. They're trying to disengage. The stun goes on to Talus. Tygoon doesn't quite have the damage at this point in time. Nice flash into the Cataclysm. Death by Video Game trying to get out. Tygoon does have the Black Shield. Your bad connection chasing. Well, Voperdo comes in, picks up 1. Ace in the hole. It's 2 kills. They both went to Tygoon. The flash onto your bad connection. The chop, the finding. Voperdo picks 1 up. It's 3 kills for Team Ishtar, and they are shocking Team DPS right now.
Mad plays coming through. It's kind of nuts to see that as the response in the mid lane after a really good flash from Talus. Oh.
Let's see. Drubin getting to the safety of Voperdo. Quegert is slowed by the red buff, is slowed by the chomp, but he's got a lot of damage. He puts down the ice field. Voperdo gets the kill. And Team Ishtar has just run DPS off the map. The angry troll with a big club bonking everybody.
Just massive plays coming through from this, just across the board in a lot of ways for Ishtar here, and it's baffling in a lot of ways because this isn't what we expect to see out of DPS. We expect to see them as sort of the pristine, clean #1 seed of the regular season, trying to contend for a perfect season. If you had nameplates off here, you would think that DPS is on red side thus far because they've been playing a breakneck pace and really putting the pressure on DPS to give some sort of answer.
You know, I'll counterpoint that. If nameplates are off, you would totally know that blue side is DPS because Alice Kander is winning in CS. by a large margin.
Yes.
Here comes the engagement, though. The Black Shield went down, but it was dealt too much damage. Death by video game, though, getting the Soul Shackle, double stun there into a root. And there's another death. Voperdo, kill number 5 in the entirety of Team DPS. Just a complete breakdown in communication. This does not look like a 6-0 team.
They look rough around the edges, and I think that they've just got to get themselves back to center, sort of slow up the bus a little bit, and say, okay, take this one at a time. Don't push the agenda too quickly. And it seems like they're just trying to force too many plays, and Voperto has been the biggest benefactor of this. After giving up first blood, has just been a menace.
He has been absolutely unstoppable. He has his mythic. And there was a very short time on the map where DPS had more mythics than Ishtar, and Ishtar took that fight 3-0, and now they're starting to even up the mythic game a little bit. See, Corki is a ways away, but will be completing his Muramana very shortly. And we've never even seen Druben in a big fight coming from a weird angle with a big ultimate.
We haven't been able to see the full extent of the Malphite yet. I mean, teleports unlocked 2.5 minutes ago, so more agency to potentially do so now, but oh my goodness, topside.
Well, there's the impact of that ultimate. Quagger does not have the attack speed after way too many slows, and he doesn't have the damage after Scrub McGruff out there takes a bite out of crime. It is a kill onto Quagger, 0, 3, and 2, and now Alice Kander getting pinched. Ooh. He's going to turn off the Tygoon. He's got a flash over the wall, but he got rooted. Voperdo in hot pursuit. It's a big shutdown for Voperdo, who's having a game. 7 kills on the other side, face to the wind, unable to get away as Your Bad Connection and Talus combine to pick up a kill there. However, it is still a 2-for-1, and Team Ishtar has just come out with a statement so far.
Oh yeah, quite the statement indeed. They've just been full gas pedal this entire game, and I mean, despite Face to the Wind sort of getting bullied out here and really not being able to participate in any of the kills that Team Ishtar has been able to pick up, it's consistently just Team Ishtar having that sort of extra push in their favor. And really the only thing to be critical of is the fact that they don't have a bigger gold lead right now. It's only at about 1,500. Oh, did it break? It broke.
What broke?
Oh.
Okay,
I fixed it. We're good. Yeah, only 1,500 gold is the difference between these two teams, which is shocking, to say the least.
Yeah, it goes to show how well the farming has been going. And a lot of it is for Aliskander. And then Quakert's going to knock down this turret soon, so it's quite a bit more gold to go into their pockets. So this game is not totally over for Team DPS yet, and they have some solid scaling on Aliskander and Quagert. I am worried that Your Bad Connection might not be able to do too much in this game, provided that Team Ishtar continues on this trajectory.
Yeah, I mean, Team Ishtar, like, as we said, their victory would push them well up the gauntlet order there, only needing to play one game basically against whoever makes it to face them in the final game of the gauntlet. But oh goodness,
oh, big steal by Talus there. Death by video game in a lot of trouble. Never mind, they Zonias there a-okay. Quagert looking to beat up the big rock man, and he finally does. Brian is very low. Voperdo is here, ace in the hole. Your Bad Connection with the block. Just like that, it's a 1-for-1, and a dragon steal for Talus is massive. Think of how good Ocean Soul would be for Ishtar, staring down Aliskander on Victor, staring down Quagert on Jace, and face to the wind with a huge stop on the back there. Will be able to pick up their first kill of the game. It looks like this Rift Herald will go over to Ishtar.
Yeah, and Ishtar, they're still just controlling these fights, and I mean, Aliskander has just been really keeping himself in this game, and Your Bad Connection as well has been able to find a lot of gold. It's shocking to see how much gold, like, the gold lead doesn't exist there. I think a lot of these kills have gone from shutdowns, but honestly, finding a kill onto Voperto has to be your next goal. 8, 2, and 5 now doesn't have that flash as they're forced out, and Ishtar just breakneck pace. It's shocking.
Yeah, and again, they're still not up that much. Well, we're going to have to see what they do with this Rift Herald, though.
Oh.
A couple of places to put it. You can throw it mid, you can throw it top. Obviously, you could still throw a bot if you wanted to. Lots of options available. Birdo heading to the mid lane and a trap being laid here as he's going to walk into the jungle. He knows that something's up. They're going to knock him up. He's got no flash. He's got no life.
What?
No, wait. He's still alive. He ends up trading. It's a 1-for-1. Death by video game. Soul Shackles down. Alice Kander walks out. Quagert gets the kill. Alice Kander low. Has to back off. 2-for-1 so far. And the gold tilting toward Team DPS here. Drubin flying in. Give another one over to Tygoon. 8 kills apiece for the jungler and the AD carry for the side of Ishtar. But the gold lead shrunk even more. It's only at about 500 right now. So for Team DPS, you'll take that.
Yeah, I checked on it, and it's because Quagert has 800 gold from First Strike.
Oh my god. Oh
They've
my
just been
God.
able to beat down on the Bungus on the top side there and get a whole lot of bonus gold from it. I mean, even Talus is out first striking the Corki here, which is normally your culprit for first strike. So that's really what's keeping them in the game, and it's massive because it means that Quagert, despite them dying 5 times, has 2 completed items, almost a full item up on the Malphite. You wouldn't expect that, and I mean, Talus in the jungle is still staying within striking distance of this Trundle, so the main members who are behind are able to stay in the game because of first strike, and on the flip side, Face of the Wind really isn't able to find any tangible options. Oh my.
Oh
What?
no! What are you doing? Brian gives one away.
Rakan
Ace in
mid
the
wouldn't have
hole.
died to that.
Alice Kander was it one more time?
Rakan mid would not have died to that.
The comment would not have died to that, no. Wow. All right, so you're just going to give one away there? It's a 9th kill over to the Caitlyn, and that is not somebody you want to have kills. Mid-game power trough. It's hard to have one when you are 9, 2, and 5. Rift Herald getting sent toward the mid lane here, as the only one to defend is this Xayah. Volperdo coming in from the side. It looks like this one will just go down. The charge gets expended, so Shelly losing a lot of HP. Pillar down, Gale Force out. Second charge comes through, but the turret will survive. As the rest of Team DPS go to chase him down, they're going to find a way out.
And I really like this pickup of the Shirelius from the Morgana. Instead of going for more of the AP focus build, they're just getting as much movement speed so that they can follow through with their soul shackles, get the stun onto multiple members, and because of how bursty the damage is from the side of DPS, Death by Video Game actually has a lot of agency to just walk up. Because if they use their burst on someone else, Death by Video Game presses R, runs into them, and they need to wait for their cooldowns at that point. So, very curious to see how these fights are going to erupt, because this Morgana's played incredibly well thus far. She's landed a lot of key bindings. She's 0-1-15, highest kill participation in the game, higher than even her own jungler and her AD carry, and she's just been everywhere in this game, and I think it's super important to keep that in mind, because Death by Video Game, I believe this is just maybe the first time they've played, second time they've played, unless it's an IGN change or something. They're playing out of their mind thus far.
They've played so great, and the Black Shields, after the first one, that ended up resulting in a death for Tygoon. The Black Shields have been on point every time afterward, giving them a lot of kill assist credit, I should say. And you can see how much it helps there, as they are just barely able to survive because of the Black Shield. Tygoon takes so much damage. Alice Kander just finds ways to be in the game when the team is falling around him. 5-2-1, 2 completed items, the faker of Black Twitch League.
Yeah, it's really well played from Alice Kander here, just to have these sort of advantages. Oh. That was clean from Brian.
Turns on the oracles and says, "Oh, I better get out of here."
See you later. That was almost bad.
Yeah, no, that could have been absolutely terrible, especially at this point in the game, with how much damage can be dealt. As we see Quagert, oh, see ya, gets knocked up and is dead. Alice Kander has to flash away. Alice Kander getting the shields. Alice Kander getting the heal. Alice Kander getting the assist. However, in the thick of things is Jarvan. He is going to put down the Cataclysm to ensure everybody else is able to get out. It is a 2-for-1, making a 2-for-2 because Alice Kander's going wild. He's still alive. He's gone golden. Your bad connection helping him out, but a big chomp there from Volperdo. It is a 4-for-3 in favor of Team Ishtar as they continue to take the game to Team DPS.
Yes, and Ishtar just still going all gas, no brakes, and the gold lead still won't budge from this like 1,000, 2,000 range. Ishtar are just not able to get gold somehow. It feels as if there's just like the funds are just getting siphoned out of their bank accounts and just put into the pockets of DPS. It's shocking because it makes this game so much closer. The kills mean a lot less when the gold lead is this close.
Yeah, and that is how strong of a rune First Strike can be. As First Strike Jarvan seems like it's doing pretty well for itself. And then, I mean, Jason to a melee matchup, I mean, what did you expect? In a melee matchup where you can't really get punished for poking, you know? Like, Quagert was taking some damage, but Malphite really didn't have any kill threat until after he hit 6, and Quagert had to be at about 4th HP. Yeah, that's a very specific set of circumstances.
Yes, it's I think that all of these fights are coming through with sort of exceptional circumstances, I want to say, for Ishtar, and in just a strict 5v5, I cannot say that DPS would lose. It's just that they're starting fights like 2v3 or in odd man situations there, and like in hockey where you're like on a 3-on-1 in the defensive zone, you kind of have to just bail yourself out. You might end up losing.
Well, I know who's going to end up losing. I don't think Aliskander's winning this one.
Oh,
Those guys are a little too tanky. Although Druban is quite low, Aliskander trying to kite this one out. We might have a chance here. Nope, never mind. He got chomped.
Did you hear that voice line?
God.
How perfect.
He really did it to him. Meanwhile, in the mid lane here, 150 gold apiece for the jungler and the bot lane. And just like that, the gold lead is even, and just like that, DPS is up 500 gold.
It's
They're
incredible.
quite taking the bottom turret.
Yeah, they find a kill onto Aliskanדר. That's 300 gold, but they just get the objective, right? And objectives are worth more than kills at this point, at least individually. So you have to get more than one kill if you want to make it worth it. But this fight could be trouble. Oh no!
Oh no! Brian has to flash away. He will be able to find a way out. It looked like it looked like everybody was on the same page except for him there.
Yeah, I think Brian realistically could have just W'd over the wall, or just if they were scared of, like, I can understand the feeling of it's crowded around this blast going out and if we're all gonna fit. Just wait and then E over the wall. You have the battle dance. You can get over that wall somehow.
And you know, that's not the first time that Brian has been a little out of sync with the rest of Team DPS. They might just be having an off day.
It could be. I mean, realistically, Brian is a newer addition to this roster. I want that to be known as well. I mean, DPS has actually played with a couple of different rosters as well. They've had some substitutions. Aliskanדר is back this week after Queen Lyra played a couple of weeks, and Brian is sort of the new support for them there. So maybe still just some synergy things going on, but it's still an incredibly close game. The kill score does not tell the full story, and that's the main reason why I refreshed it earlier, to see if it was like, is that actually a bug? Is the gold actually that close with there being like 11 more kills in Ishtar's favor? But that is exactly the case. Once again, we look at Jace's first strike here. 750 gold, 400 gold from the Jarvan as well, and the Corki now only hitting 400 gold themselves. So the first strike's actually being a pretty big factor in this game.
It has been absolutely massive so far, and it'll continue to help out quite a bit as the poke starting to come in hot and heavy. This is why Ocean Soul is so important for Team DPS to secure. So everybody crowds around the dragon, and this Corki is ready to make things happen. They're lined up. Do it. Just rip it. Dragon started up by the side of Team Ishtar. Face to the wind, ready and raring to go. Here comes Talus. Oh. There's the cutoff. It's taken by Voperto. Talus has to flash it away. Aliskanדר is gone golden. Brian is gone. Aliskanדר is gone. They're in hot pursuit. Ace in the hole does a lot of damage. And the pings go on to Baron. Team Ishtar is punching DPS in the mouth. And they have no response.
Yeah, at least not yet. They cannot find the fight in the right circumstances there. It's a 2-for-0 for Team Ishtar, and Baron started up. I don't know if Talus can get into this pit in time to get the steal, but
round 2, baby.
By God, they're going to try it. Oh, my goodness.
What a juke. He's going in. It's got a little bit too much HP.
Gosh.
He's going to drop the smite on it, and that will go. Team Ishtar, the Baron has been secured. And now Team Ishtar, they get to begin the siege if they want. And their siege is not too bad. They do have a Corki available to them. And a long-range Caitlyn, it seems like they'll be in a pretty decent spot.
Yeah, and I think that, especially now that they've started to open up a little bit more of a gold lead, 3,000 gold, with how well they've been playing these team fights, I think it means a lot more than what their gold requires. And looking at the builds, it's still Caitlyn just barely ahead of the Xayah, but she should be able to hopefully finish up an item soon. The Corki's now sitting on 3 items. I mean, Vaperto's been massive this entire game, and Drubin as well, just super tanky now. It's going to be hard for the side of DPS to find the damage per second to cut through this front line now, as Malphite's just been able to scale up for free and really only takes damage from the Victor.
And really, you saw Victor there doing some damage to Face of the Wind. And with this Maul of Mount Mortius, he just barely took any damage.
Yeah, the Maw is just going to come through and prevent a lot of the poke from coming down as well. So Maw, a great item now, and it's really
Oh. So I thought Corki did a lot of damage. Jace does a little bit more right now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy and how much damage the poke comes through on either side. I mean, that's what Quiger's been doing. That's the point of Jace. You know, you just poke them out, you look for as much damage as possible, and you get the first strike money off of it. So curious to see how the next fight in 2.5 minutes goes, because it won't be Baron buffed up. And realistically, Ishtar hasn't done anything with this Baron. It's been sort of just a neutral Baron of them just clearing out waves. Probably still going to be about a 2,000 gold power play off of it, but it's just been relatively neutral.
Relatively neutral so far, as you mentioned. Things gonna get pretty interesting very soon because of this Ocean Soul that'll be coming up potentially for Team Ishtar. If they manage to secure that, all the Jace poke in the world won't matter.
And I think that with the... as we said, it just comes down to how you execute these fights. The poke can come down as much as you want from this Jace, but you need to be able to follow up on it. And Talus needs to find a good Cataclysm onto multiple members. You need to have the follow-up damage from your bad connection. And Brian, realistically with Jarvan, they have a really strong sort of team fight start EQ ult into the EW ult from the Rakan as well. That's your go button to sort of get into that backline and make as much happen as possible.
Yeah, and getting into the backline, absolutely huge. We've seen that Alice Kander has been mortal this game, has been blown up quite a few times, although that Zhonya's is back up and available. And realistically speaking, if Team Ishtar can make a fight happen before Quaker can land a lot of poke, they're going to be in very good shape for these fights. The onus is just to be on them to dodge enough times to be able to find a way in, and that should be easy with Drubin.
Yeah, Drubin's just a free engage bot. He says R and let's go, and that's basically how your fights are going to start. It's a lot it's an easier to execute comp. I think that is what we need to state. It's so much easier to just execute the comp of Ishtar here, and you know, we'll have to see if that ease of execution ends up meaning anything, or if the sort of hard to execute but higher skill cap, higher skill ceiling and higher damage ceiling comp from DPS are able to find this fight. Because if Victor can get, you know, a kill at the beginning of that fight and start to get the ball rolling for themselves, it can be pretty scary. Victor can just sprint through these teams as well.
Well, Alice Kander has a couple of problems here. He's still level 15, and he's pretty low on mana. So the problem is, you have to make a decision here. Are you going to try to hit level 16 and get that mana back, or are you just going to, you know, keep your mana up and do what you can? As you can see, Talus takes a lot of damage at this point in time. Caitlyn hitting hard, along with the Corkis. We see Brian trying to get around here. Here comes a teleport from Corki. Does mean package is available. Alice Kander gets hit with a headshot. Almost dies. Here comes the package on the side. Talus is in GA. On the backside, it's Brian trying to make a play happen. Big shutdowns going around. It's a double kill for Corki. It's a double kill for Caitlyn. Alice Kander is the last one standing. It is a soul for Team Ishtar. And Team Ishtar has finally put the boot to the throat of Team DPS.
They might be able to take this game 1 here. I mean, the gold lead's still shockingly low, but their execution in these fights has been immaculate. Ocean Soul now just preventing any of that poke from really meaning anything. Vaperto's so fed, and this could be the game.
They're going to lay a trap. Alice Kander's going to get headshot. And Tygoon is still going to stay alive. That will be the kill going over to the Caitlyn. Brian is going to respawn here. I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything. The first Nexus turret is going down. He's not even going to try. The second Nexus turret goes down. And Team Ishtar with a huge upset here in Game 1.
Absolutely dominant, I want to say. It didn't feel that way. We kept looking at that gold lead, and it was almost a little bit of doubt. I think from both of us, by just being like, is this really a lead? Is this enough for them to push forward their advantages? But my goodness, such a well-played game for a lot of that game for Team Ishtar. And I think that if they're able to replicate that performance, they could put a big dent into DPS's sort of playoff setup in a lot of ways. To lose a game in week 7 with next week off would actually put a little bit of fear into their own heads by saying, we're not as clean as we expected. And maybe that's the opportunity that a team like Ishtar, who needs to run the gauntlet to get to these playoffs, wants, because then all of a sudden DPS have to say, do we want to play the stronger team in Spectre, or do we want to play the wild card in whoever comes out of the gauntlet?
And, you know, that is a pretty scary thought, because if you can get beat by Team Ishtar, I mean, what's to say you can't get beat by Barbara's Fan Club or Trebuchet or Spectre, you know? It's like, these are teams that you can lose to if you're going to expose yourself like this. And I don't even think their draft was particularly bad.
Nope.
And their execution wasn't that bad either. It just felt like the entire time Team Ishtar was just one step ahead of them. And outside of the mid lane, they executed better.
Yeah, I think that realistically, the story of this game isn't that DPS played bad. It's that Team Ishtar played out of their minds. And it really showed that all of those fights just moved like a well-oiled machine. And if this is just a random substitution off of the street sort of deal with Death by Video Game, hey man, sign him up. He played really well. 0-2 and 26, just everywhere in every single fight. And that Morgana was incredibly clean.
If you get to sign Death by Video Game to a contract, how many years and how much money are you giving them?
Well, I mean, if we're going by esports standards, I don't really know, because I haven't looked at esports contracts. If we go, I know hockey contracts are the best. So I think,
are you gonna give them a 6x6?
I don't think it would be a 6x6. I think after one game of sample, I'd be like, you know what? We're gonna get a mid-ground deal, probably like 2 for 3.5 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, and then if they continue to improve on that, then after that you get your contract extension. You go like 7x7, 7x8 or something like that. And you become a big ticket man.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you GM a team. Okay, if any NHL GMs or wannabe GMs for anything, reach out.
Maple Leafs hiring you?
Man, I wish. Although Austin Matthews is a stud. That's all I'll say.
This is true. We're going to cut the hockey talk for a little bit, and we're going to head to a very short break. When we return, we'll give you the draft of Game 2 between Team DPS and Team Ishtar, as Team Ishtar looks to move up in the rankings, and Team DPS looks to keep the perfect season alive.